So if you're wondering what the heck is going on in California right now with insurance, this is going to be the video for you. I'm going to be sharing my opinion today about what's going on, what we might be expecting in the near future, and then most importantly is if you're having issues with insurance, then how you might be able to kind of combat that and keep your premium as low as possible. So I have been working mostly in California for about 5 years now. I actually did work at a State Farm office for a little while. I am now a broker of business insurance, but we're seeing this really across the board. So whether you own a home or you own a building or you're driving around in your personal vehicle, in your business vehicle, we're seeing this across the board in the property and casualty space. So whether it's personal lines or business insurance, we're seeing a lot of this. And the kind of trigger for this video specifically today is going to be that State Farm just announced that they're going to be non-renewing 72,000 policies in the homeowners and apartment space. So that is definitely big news, and we're going to talk about how this is going to affect you, what this might mean for you and your family and your business and your life, okay? So if you look at the last 2 years in California for insurance, you're going to see that it's literally been back to back companies that are announcing that they're either backing out of California completely, meaning they're not writing any new business, whether it's home and auto or the small business insurance. So whether it's Nationwide, Liberty Mutual, Travelers has significantly downsized their eligibility. State Farm, no more new business in California. Farmers has downsized or done big price increases, and the list goes on and on and on. You have Allstate in 2022 that said they're not writing any new business in California. So we're seeing this happen, and it just feels like it's getting worse and worse and worse. So if you look at those companies, the main reason we're seeing this is in California, in my opinion, is it's all about the money. It's all about the dollars, and it's all about the insurance company's profitability. So California has become a state that has been very difficult to be profitable in. Insurance companies are definitely not in it for helping people out, right? They're here to make a profit, and that is becoming more and more difficult in California because of a lot of different reasons. So what is kind of happened because of that is that companies had to narrow down and just be really realistic in seeing what are the business lines, what are the lines of coverage that are in the insurance world that is actually still making them money. So if they have a statistic for homeowners that you're more likely to cost them more than they're going to make on your policy, then yes, you are going to see a significant price increase. When you add inflation to that, it gets a little bit more complicated because, I was writing homeowners policies back in 2018, 2019, and we were calculating $200 per square foot to be a good estimate of what it would cost to rebuild a home. Good luck building a house right now in California for $200 per square foot. I don't think that's even possible. You're probably looking at least $400 to $450. So imagine that. The contractors are having to increase their prices. The supplies are costing more. Shipping things from overseas is getting more and more and more expensive. And insurance companies, they have to kind of pick up that slack, right? They have to match themselves to what is going on in the marketplace. It doesn't make sense for them. Of course, they're never gonna sell you a policy for what it would cost you to rebuild your house. That wouldn't make any sense, but they have to appropriately match their prices for them to still be profitable. So profitability is probably the biggest thing that I don't think many people are talking about. I see a lot of articles about the behind the scenes and the politics of it, but at the end of the day, insurance companies need to be profitable. So other than inflation, we're also seeing big ticket lawsuits. So in California, there is a tendency right now to do these big ticket lawsuits. And I feel, in my opinion, that is definitely harming the insurance companies, because a claim that would have settled 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago within $100,000, now these insurance companies have to settle on a lot more money. There's big lawyers involved in this, and they have big bills to pay. So I think that the lawyer and lawsuit mentality that's going on in California right now is definitely not helping. And it's just increasing the price of the claims even more, and insurance companies have to take that into account, and they have to consider that when they issue a rate for your specific policy. So whether that's personal lines or in the small business space, large business, we're not seeing that as often, but within the small business space, we're definitely seeing a lot of price increases and a difficulty to get insurance coverage. So what can you do as just an individual that doesn't care so much about insurance, and you know that you need it, but you don't really feel like you need it, right? So what can you do as a homeowner or as a business owner that's being dropped or getting a price increase? So the first thing I would say is be ahead of the game, okay? Understand this is an extremely difficult marketplace. We have brokers that are leaving the industry because they haven't seen this going on in like 40 years or something. So be ahead of the game and give yourself as much time as possible. If you know that a price increase on your insurance might take your business kind of in a down loop and, have it be extremely difficult, or if you're already struggling right now to be profitable in your business and you fear that something in insurance might kind of tip the scale, not so much in your favor, then give yourself time to shop around, right? Start looking for additional options 30, 90 days before your policy actually renews. I would recommend, if you own a business and you have 5 to 10 vehicles, I would even say start thinking about it 120 days out, because you don't know. Insurance companies are going to let you know probably within the 30 to 60 day range if you are going to get any significant price increase or you're going to be dropped. And being ahead of that game is going to be extremely important just for you, your mentality, your state of mind, and also actually finding an option. The worst thing that can happen is that you're stuck 2 or 3 days before your policy renews without any options at all, and then you're facing a lapse in coverage, and we already know that the worst things happen when the policy lapses. So that's, it's kind of like a karma thing, right? That's how it goes. So prepare yourself, give yourself enough time to really look at additional options and shop the market in a difficult market. Second thing I want to talk about is this might be a perfect time to start considering working with a broker. So whether it's a smaller local broker near your home, whether it's a larger broker, it really depends on the specific needs of you, your business, or your home policy. There are brokers for personal lines as well as commercial lines. So find a broker that fits within your space. I feel like in a difficult marketplace, having someone that is willing to do the work for you and get the quotes and get you a policy, and he's committed to that, is going to be extremely significant. If 5 years ago we could all go online and type in our address and get a homeowner's policy quote super quick, right? But that's not the case anymore, and you need to realize that, and you need to work with someone. I think that right now working with someone and having someone that is willing to really be creative is going to be extremely crucial. So that is another thing that I would highly recommend. The third thing that I wanted to mention is that if you are getting a letter from the insurance company where it says something about territory, whether you own a commercial building or just your home. A lot of companies right now are updating their zones, making it a little bit more difficult. So they might have a specific area that they will now consider a fire hazard. Seeing that a lot of these non-renewals are going to be in specific areas. So it's possible that your neighbor literally got this letter 6 months ago because that was their renewal and now it's your time. So it's going to be really important to kind of ask around, see what's going on, and see maybe there's new players in the space. We're definitely seeing some new companies coming into California and willing to take on some of that risk. They are being extremely picky on who they take on and who they don't. It's harder to go with a newer company because you don't have that history and know who they are. You know, you can have a lot more confidence in a State Farm than, you know, in a company that you've never heard of before, but that might be your best option, right? So asking around your area geographically is going to be extremely important during this time. This is also a time to be proactive about your risk. If you are a homeowner and you know your home is not in the best shape and it might be difficult to get coverage because of that, definitely look into some renovations maybe. If you're a business and you don't have, you know, any risk management at all right now, this might be a good time to kind of look at that. So just being proactive about your risk is going to be more important now than it is would have been probably like 5 to 6 years ago. More specific to homeowners is maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, you were able to just buy a house and then worry about the insurance. I don't think or believe that to be the case anymore. Even on commercial buildings, if you're already kind of tight and pushing your budget with buying a property, it might be a good idea to get some property quotes or to see what the estimated insurance is for that specific property before you close escrow. I feel like a lot of people neglect to even look at the insurance in the beginning. I honestly believe it's a mistake, especially right now, because you might buy a building and you think it's really good and you got this great amazing loan if they're even out there anymore, but then you find out that the insurance is going to cost you $2,000 a month on a commercial building because it doesn't have sprinkler systems or it doesn't have alarms, all of these things, or you might not even be able to find an option. So I would say if you're considering buying a property right now in California, maybe take a look at the insurance a little bit earlier than what you're used to in order to make sure that you actually have a solid option that is within your budget. So what are we looking at for the future? I think that we're probably going to continue to see this within the next 2 to 3 years until kind of the politics of things maybe settle down a little bit. Right now, there's a lot of things going on. 2024 is an election year, so we're going to see a lot of changes, a lot of things that are going to happen. And I feel that the insurance space in California is going to get more difficult, and we're probably going to see that migrating over to other large cities. So I'm thinking maybe Phoenix area, maybe Denver, Colorado. I know Florida has had their issues with insurance, especially on more the personal side of things. So I definitely think that this is going to continue being an issue until insurance companies kind of find their plateau where they are now profitable again. And at that point, they can probably, scale down the underwriting guidelines and what they're looking at within every single policy or quote that comes into their arms. I am hoping that it doesn't take that long, but that's what I personally think. We're looking at a similar situation within the next 2 to 3 years. If this is interesting to you guys, or if this is something that you would like to hear more about, I would definitely encourage you guys to take a look at some articles online or shoot me some questions in the comments below. I'm happy to get a little bit more specific and send you guys in the right direction if